So, my best friend died, and then I killed his wife with a joke. Yeah, pause. I'm Danny, 27, ventriloquist. Not famous, just a guy who does birthday parties and open mics. My buddy Frank was a mechanic, married to Marlene, a woman who looked like she'd been sucking on lemons since 1980. Frank loved her. I never got it. Frank died in a car accident, broken neck. It was sudden, messy, and his funeral was on a Saturday, the worst day for a funeral because everyone's hungover. I was standing in the back of the church holding a rose, feeling like a fraud, because Frank didn't die in an accident. He told me 2 weeks before that Marlene was planning to leave him for a guy named Rick. He said, "If I die suddenly, it's her." I laughed. "Bro," I laughed. But then he died, and the cops said it was an accident. I didn't believe it, but what was I supposed to do? File a report on my dead homie's suspicion? At the funeral, everything was dead silent. The priest was droning on. Marlene was crying, not real tears, I could tell. She was holding a handkerchief that had Rick's initials on it. I was like, we are cooked. And then, for no reason at all, I did something stupid. I was bored, I was angry. I wanted to shake things up. So I used my ventriloquist skills. I threw my voice into the coffin and shouted, "Get me out of here!" The entire church froze. Marlene's face went white. She screamed, "Frank!" and ran toward the coffin. But she was 40 pounds overweight and had a history of heart problems. She took 3 steps, clutched her chest and collapsed, dead before she hit the floor. I stood there, mouth open, feeling the heaviest silence of my life. The priest opened the coffin. Frank was still dead, obviously. And I had just killed Marlene with a prank. It's giving nightmare fuel. But here's the thing. I wasn't sorry. Not really, because I knew she killed Frank. And now she was gone, and I was free. Except I wasn't, because the police questioned me. And I had to confess to the ventriloquism. They let me go. No crime. But everyone in town knew. They called me Coffin Danny. I still have that name. And I still have Frank's silver lighter, the one he flicked twice before lighting a cigarette. I carry it in my pocket. I never use it, but sometimes I feel it warming up. And I wonder if it's him, trying to say something. The guilt didn't hit me immediately. The first week I was just numb. I went to the funeral, both of them actually, and stood in the rain, watching 2 coffins go into the same ground. Marlene's family glared at me. Frank's parents didn't even look my way. I was a pariah, and I deserved it. But then came the second week. I started having dreams, not of Marlene, but of Frank. In the dream, he was sitting in my living room, holding his lighter, flicking it twice and saying, "You should have told them." I would wake up sweating, my chest tight, because I knew what he meant. I knew he wanted me to expose Marlene. But she was dead now. So what was the point? I went to the police station, asked to see the accident report. They gave me a copy. I read it carefully. The car had been tampered with, brake lines cut. But the report said, no evidence of foul play. I asked the cop, why? He shrugged and said, the lab lost the samples. I didn't believe him. So I started digging. I found Rick, Marlene's lover. He was a mechanic at the same garage Frank worked at. He had access to Frank's car. I confronted him in a parking lot. He laughed, said, "You can't prove anything." And then he pulled out a knife. I ran. That night I sat in my apartment tracing the crack in my phone screen, the one from when I dropped it at Frank's garage. And I realized the prank wasn't a joke. It was a confession. Because I didn't just want to shake things up. I wanted to expose Marlene, but I didn't have the guts, so I let my voice do it for me, and it killed her. But now I had a new problem. Rick knew I was onto him, and he wasn't going to stop until I was silent. I started carrying Frank's lighter everywhere, not to light anything, but because it felt like protection, like he was watching over me. I flicked it twice every morning like a ritual, and each time I felt a strange warmth, like someone was breathing on my neck. The third week, everything broke. I was at a gas station filling my car when Rick pulled up behind me. He didn't get out. He just sat there staring at me in his rearview mirror. I panicked. I drove to the police station and told them everything. The brake lines, the knife, the threat. They listened, took a statement, and said they'd look into it, but they had no evidence. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and then I heard it. A voice. Not from outside, but from inside my chest. It said, "She killed me." I sat up. The room was empty, but the voice was clear. It was Frank. I ran to the bathroom, splashed water on my face. In the mirror, I saw my own reflection, but my lips weren't moving. The voice came again. "Danny, open the coffin." I froze, because I knew what he meant. He wanted me to go to the cemetery and open his coffin. But why? He was dead. I checked the clock, 3:03 a.m., the same time the accident happened. I grabbed Frank's lighter, drove to the cemetery, and dug up his grave. It took 2 hours. When I finally opened the coffin, I expected to see a skeleton, but Frank's body was there, fresh, with a note pinned to his chest. The note read, "Marlene didn't kill me. Rick did, and he's your father." I dropped the lighter. It flicked twice. Rick was my dad. My father, who left when I was 5. He was the one who cut the brake lines, and he did it to get Marlene, but she was already with Rick? Wait, no. Rick was Marlene's lover? That meant Rick was my father and also Marlene's lover? And he killed Frank to get Marlene, but Marlene was already with him? The timeline didn't fit. Then I realized the note was written by Frank. He knew everything, and he wanted me to know the truth before I died, because Rick was coming for me. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Rick was standing there holding a shovel. He said, "You should have left it alone." And he swung. I woke up in a hospital bed 3 days later. They said I had a concussion and a fractured skull. Rick was arrested. They found his fingerprints on the shovel, but the note, it was gone. No one believed me about the voice. I was discharged. I moved out of town, changed my name, and started over, but the dreams didn't stop. Every night, I saw Frank sitting in my apartment, flicking his lighter, and every night he said the same thing. "You did it. You finally told the truth." But the truth isn't enough. You have to live with it. And he's right. I live with it every day. The guilt, the fear, the knowledge that I killed Marlene, even if she deserved it. But also the knowledge that my own father tried to kill me, and that Frank's voice wasn't a ventriloquism trick. It was real. I still have the lighter. I still flick it twice every morning. But now I don't feel warmth. I feel cold, because Frank isn't protecting me. He's reminding me that I'm alive because he gave me a warning, and I never thanked him. The last thing Frank said to me in that voice was, "You're not free. You're just waiting." I don't know what I'm waiting for. But every time I look in the mirror, I see my father's eyes, and I see Frank's face behind me watching. I will never stop flicking that lighter, and I will never stop hearing that voice. The prank wasn't a prank, it was a prophecy, and I'm still its puppet. He wanted me to open the coffin. I opened it, and I still can't close it.